Another day, another hopefully great beer. This is a new beer from Soma, one of my favourite, if not my favourite brewery, and this is Daily and IPA at 6%. But what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're on a run of great beers, and today we're drinking another beer from Soma, my new number one. I'm going to say it now. My number one craft brewery, not in the UK because they're Spanish, and this is in a quite striking can actually. Soma Daily. This is an IPA 6%. Like all these beers from Soma, it doesn't actually say the hops on it, but due to the internet, what would we have done? How do we manage without the internet before? Oh, I can tell you the hops. So we've got Crush Cryo, it's not easy to say, Mosaic, Citra, and Waiti. Now, Waiti, a New Zealand hop, we don't see that often. It's, you know, we get Nelson Sauvin, we get Mutueka, we get Rakau, we get Rakau is, yeah, Ruaka is the other one. Yeah, Ruaka is probably the third biggest out of now after Nelson and Mutueka. So, but they're the ones that we get. Obviously, Nectaron as well is one that's coming through. So there's quite a lot of them, but Waiti is not one we see as much. So I'm not sure exactly what that brings. I expect a very New Zealandy sort of flavours. Crush, it seems to be a hop that more and more breweries are using. It's one of those, I think it's a very sort of Citra-like hop in terms of it brings a lot of stuff. Probably a little bit less on the citrus side and more on the sort of tropical and stone fruit side. But it's quite a sort of more complex hop than just saying like it has this sort of flavour in it. Obviously Mosaic, yeah, tropical stuff as well. Citra, yeah, so I think it's going to be an interesting, I think the Waiti is going to be the interesting part of this beer. So let's crack it open, get it in a glass and see what it's all about. I mean, it's 6% IPA, but I did that. I think the first beer that I had from Soma was a 6%. So it's sometimes it's quite easy to go, oh, it's 6% low end of our ABV. It's not going to be as great, but that's not the case with these guys because these guys make great beer. And look at that. They certainly know how to make porridge in a glass. That is a beautiful, really light yellow, milky coloured. We got literally a finger of very sort of loose and fast disappearing head. But look at it. Look at the colour of that. It's beautiful. Let's check the aroma. Oh, there's lots going on in the aroma. Haven't quite got that sherbety bit, which I always like with a couple of their other beers that I've had. I'm getting quite a lot of the New Zealand sort of aromas. So I'm getting gooseberry and white wine, and I'm getting a sort of real grassy, you know, that lemongrass sort of aroma that you get with a lot of New Zealand hops. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it had crush in it. It smells very New Zealand-esque, and considering Waiti is the last in the line, unless in Spain the last one is the top one, I don't know. But let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Wow, for 6%, there's loads of flavour in that. And it's very New Zealand flavoured. Yeah, loads of flavour. I'm a little bit disappointed with the mouthfeel, actually, because it's quite a lot of zippy carbonation in this, which is surprising. So I don't know whether that's because, you know, you wouldn't expect it. And I haven't had it with the free beers that I've had from them in the past. But there's a lot of zippy carbonation. You get loads of flavour. But it's heavy on the New Zealand hops. I say New Zealand hops, it's just one hop. So you're getting that white grape wine sort of flavour, that Nelson Sauvin, which is the real, you know, obviously like Sauvignon Blanc, grapes and wine and all that sort of stuff. Getting that flavour. I don't know if it's a zippy carbonation, but you are getting this little sort of bit of like gooseberry, that sort of, not quite sherbety, but that almost like slightly sour sort of flavour. There's a grassy element to it as well. And then you get lots of sort of, you know, the normal sort of stuff you expect with New Zealand hops on the back end. So lemon, lime and grapefruit. So there's a real sort of sharpness of zest and slight bitterness with grapefruit flavours on the back end. Tastes incredible. There's loads and loads of flavour. It reminds me a little bit of the sort of beers that you get from Verdant in terms of the flavour, because there's a slight savoury sort of note. There's definitely a slight oniony, garlicky sort of flavour coming through. I don't know if that's sometimes, whether that's the way that they make, whether it's the yeast or the brewing process, or actually the hops, because I do get that more in heavily New Zealand hopped beers. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one because I'm not getting much in the way of, your sort of stone fruit flavours. I'm not getting mango. I'm not getting passion fruit. I'm not even getting peach and apricot and that sort of stuff, which I always associate more with Crush. It's very sort of citrus heavy and sort of those New Zealand flavour heavies. But for a 6% IPA, there's loads of flavour, and there is complexity and layers of flavour. But it is stacked in. I mean, obviously, New Zealand hops. It's not like New Zealand hops are very grapefruity or very lemony or whatever. They are a mixture of the sort of grape, gooseberry. Then you get all the citrus, lime, and lime being usually heavier, but that's usually Motueka, grapefruits and lemons. Less on the orange side and less on the peach and that sort of stone fruit side. But then there's also some underlying sort of grassy notes. There's an underlying sort of melon and maybe kiwi fruit and guava and that sort of stuff. It's all that sort of lightness and what I call green fruits, really. I mean, a lot of them are green fruits, but if you think of all the green fruits, that's what you sort of thing you've got in this. Well, green, yellow, light fruits, not orangey fruits, that's the only other colour, isn't it, really? Orangey, because peach and orange and I mean, mango sort of got green, but sort of red as well. So I'm talking rubbish. This is a good beer. It's not their best. I think for me, the carbonation's a little bit too zippy, but flavour-wise, it's great. Colour-wise, it looks pretty damn good. And there's, you drink this and you think, there's loads going on. And for a 6% IPA, sometimes you have 6% IPA and you are lacking in flavour, but you're not. And you get all the flavour that you want with I say without the ABV, but 6% still hits a punch. But, I've had double IPAs that got less flavour than this. Just the carbonation, a little bit too zippy for me, but that might just be because it's travelled all the way from northern Spain. I don't know, but it's still a great beer, so let's get some scores. Okay, let's do the scores live for Daily IPA from Soma. This is a 6% IPA, and I didn't say the price. It is £6.65. High-end price, I think, for an IPA. And I think the scores are going to be reflective of this. This is still a great beer, I think. Well, I know it's a great beer, but it's not quite a super great beer. It makes no sense at all. Anyways, let's go for scores. Starting with aroma. Well, pungent. Lots of New Zealand sort of aromas. You get the gooseberry and the grape, and you get melon and lemon and grapefruit and grassy sort of notes. It smells pretty good. I'm giving it 14. Appearance. Well, the head is a little bit lacking, but let's face it, most IPAs, double IPAs, you're going to get a lacking head. But really, I'm rating this for the colour, and that is a beautiful milky yellow colour, which is just what I'm looking for. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Flavour-wise, well, as I said, there's loads of flavour in it. Lots of those sort of New Zealand type of flavours, lemons and grapefruits and limes, and you're getting the grape and the gooseberry and kiwi and melon and maybe even some sort of apple and pear sort of flavour, and there's sort of the lemony grass. There's quite a lot of complexity. I suppose I'm a little disappointed in the fact that if you told me there was a couple of New Zealand hops in this, I would have said, yeah, that's pretty much right. I don't think there's anything else in it. But Crush is quite different, but I'm not getting much of the crushing. Even Mosaic, I'm not really getting any of that sort of stuff either. It is very citrusy and very sort of New Zealandy. So it still tastes pretty good though. Mouthfeel, and again, a little bit disappointed, a little bit too carbonated, I think. But I'm going to give it 35 for flavour. Value for money. Well, as I said, £6.65 is a little bit pricey, I think, for an IPA. I mean, that's the sort of price I want to be paying for a double IPA, not a single IPA. There's loads of flavour. It's still very good beer, but I think I'm going to have to knock points off and give it 7 for value. And my overall experience, well, I think it's just the carbonation. I think 2 things. The carbonation is a little bit zippy. It's quite thin. I don't know if it's thin, but it's just the carbonation is a little bit zippier than you would expect. And then the other thing is that I'm getting all the weighty, I think, in terms of the flavour. I'm not getting much of the other stuff. It's still very good beer. So I'm going to give it 15 for overall experience. So we top the scores up and we get 80. So it's a highly recommended beer, right at the bottom end of the highly recommended, granted. And when you think that we've had, well, the last one I had from Soma, which was a double IPA at 90, a little bit different. But that was incredible. This is just, you know, I mean, this is, for Soma, this is poor. You only got an 80. It's poor for you, Soma. But it's a tasty beer. And you think, if I'd poured that out and it was like a Verdant or a Beak or those sort of breweries, I would have said, yeah, I mean, this is a really good beer. And I mean, it is a really good beer, but I would have said it's up there with those sort of breweries. And Soma, for me, are new on the scene. I think they're probably new on the scene for a lot of people. But this shows them that even when they're not quite on their game, they still make great beer. So let me know if you've managed to get any Somas. It's the last review that I've done. Maybe you just thought, oh, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Rocker. I can't find Soma. Let me know, because I didn't have many comments about other people trying Soma. I want to hear people out there, because I've not even seen reviews of Soma beer. So if you've had a Soma beer, please let me know in the comments and let me know what you've had and what you thought of it. Am I overhyping it? Is it just because it's all new and it's a shiny new thing for me, and that's why I'm going for it? I don't know. I don't think so, because these beers have been really, really good, and that cheat code dipper was spot on. So I've got another IPA. I think completely different hops, and I think that was 6.5%. It's called Zoomies is the other one I've got. So we'll be interested to see how that is. If that's higher than this, I'm still thinking that, you know, they're a great brewery and they deserve anyone's attention. So that's enough for me today. I've whittled on too long, as always. It's almost like my trademark. You know, Rocker's Beer Review likes to do drawn out long reviews and talk about pretty much not much. And that's really, I mean, it's a bit long for a tagline, but, you know, you never know. We might add that on somewhere. But until the next one, you know what you're going to do. Drink a craft beer. And, of course, keep on rocking.